Hey gang! Alright, to follow up on our weekly Year of Fear theme, I want to talk about destiny, fate, all that jazz. So, from my personal understanding, nobody else's, just me, from my personal experiences, from talking to spirit guides, talking to angels, talking to dead people, this is how I understand it. Before we come back, reincarnate, we do write out our life plan. Some people consider it a contract. I feel like that's human wording. I think plan literally is the perfect word because, as we know, all plans do not always go according to plan. That's the key. So from what I know, I have my handy dandy little whiteboard. Here's where we start. Birth. And here is what I consider our last death, because there are other deaths along the way. Now, predestined fate says you go from here to here, and that's it. That's life. Everything is predetermined. The little landmarkers that say, okay, here's where you graduate, here's where you get your first job, here's where you get your first marriage, here's where you get the person you actually love for the rest of your life. Oh, and here's having kids along the way. You know, here's a retirement plan. Here's your 50th wedding anniversary. Here's, this is something else important. Okay? That's what predetermined fate says that we get. My version, well, our version, I'd like to take credit for it. It's not really mine. Is why I call life a highway. Okay? So for my version, you have the opportunity to go along this path if you choose, but along the way, there's a lot of other things. You graduate high school, you go to college here, and you have an opportunity to also go to college there. So there are lots of little paths and branches that break off and opportunities that we have lots of options for. A lot of us have different deaths, okay? So along all these winding options that go wherever it is that they lead, eventually you're going to get to an exit. Permanent exit, per se, okay? So here is what I consider your last death, but there are lots of opportunities for death along the way. Death, dismemberment, and that's why people that come back are always kind of surprised. Yeah, you're not done yet. Get back to work. So I really think that most people's highways and pit stops and byways, that looks like a roadmap. It's a little messy, it gets to some spots and you're like, oh, nope, gotta turn around, go back to the road. It's not pretty by any means, but it is what is your life, right? We all know those moments where we have an opportunity we just have that feeling that whatever choice that we make is going to change our future. For me, one of those decisions was getting in touch with my ex's whatever, who's having his child, and I knew in that moment that was going to be something that was going to change the course of my future, because if I unleashed all my anger and resentment and that I felt towards my ex over this situation onto her, absolutely valid feelings, absolutely. Or I had the choice to hear out her story and build a future for that half sibling into our family. I'm pretty proud of myself for not going that route, because for the most part I really am over it. But when you hear stuff like that, it's kind of like, really, what the duck is going on? Same thing with little things like picking your college. It feels like a big deal because it is a big deal. That's your first really heading out on your own. Even if you're in community college, these are the little choices that we make that lead us to our future. When I decided to take the management position at a retail store, I knew that store was an hour away, one way, through bad weather, good weather, bad traffic, whatever. I knew that, and I knew it was going to be a flaming pain in the butt. I knew it was going to suck, but I knew that I would never get that opportunity ever again. So I had the choice to stay safe in my home store, which was like 20 minutes away, or to take a chance and actually do something different, maybe something bigger that I might want to do for the rest of my life. Didn't want to do it for the rest of my life. So yeah, that was another one of those big choices that I knew was a choice. When we meet different people, we're like, oh my gosh, I know this is going to be my best friend for life, or oh my gosh, I feel like I've known you for like forever. Let's be BFFs, or that person where for no particular reason you just don't like immediately you don't like them. You're like, I haven't even said a word. Nobody's introduced you, but you've seen them enter the room and you're like, oh my God, what a son of a gun. Forget it. I don't even want to talk to them. I don't want to know who they are. Blah, blah, blah. Little weird things that pop up in life, or we hear our favorite song on the radio and it's like, yes, this is what I needed to get through this day because it's been so, I just need a little bit of hope, a little bit of fate, so my thing is the trials of every single day prepare us for the next day. So if today is really, really hard, tomorrow's going to be harder, but you're going to be better prepared for tomorrow being harder because you've been through today. And I'm all about that ancestry thing, The heathens say you represent 6 generations behind you and 6 generations ahead of you. I love that because not only does it remind us that there are people watching us, pushing us for success, that we have that support, we have that love. It also reminds us that we represent future generations. What we do today affects 6 generations ahead of us. And I think that if more people had that frame of mind, we would take much better care of the environment. We would be a lot kinder to each other. And we would think ahead a lot more, being about the decisions that we make. Make sense? Yeah. I love the heathens. That's why I joke that the difference between the heathens and the godly people is that the godly people, when faced with a tough situation, will pray for the situation to be easier. The heathens will request from their gods more strength so that they can kick butt in that tough situation. I like the heathens. Just different attitudes towards the current situation in the future. So again, if we're talking about fate, where we have our general path, but certain things get intervened with, right? As we all know, our angels and stuff, they are not allowed to intervene without permission. It's always good to ask permission. Ask for help. Pray for help. Whatever you got to do. Get permission. They intervene. Hopefully, even if it's just like, okay, this is a tough situation. I know I have to be strong. But if you could just give me a little bit of comfort. I find some ice cream in the refrigerator, in the freezer. Although in my case, everything's messed up. Everything's everywhere lately. Today is my cleanup day. It might be ice cream in the refrigerator. Or, I just need a text from a friend to tell me it's going to be okay. I just need a little something, need a little pick-me-up. It's a little intervention. Help out a little bit. A lot of times, I hear this a lot with people that were in car accidents. Even if they weren't the people causing the car accident, they're in the car accidents. They were like, people will tell them, the emergency people will tell them, you should have been way more hurt than you were. It's an intervention. Because maybe the person that would hit you was supposed to hit you to shock them into whatever life lesson they're going to, but you weren't meant to be hurt at this point. So, ta-da! Miracles, magic, yes. Trying to think what else we discussed. Well, that's pretty much it for me and how I feel about stuff. Life is a highway. It is a plan, but plans very rarely go according to plan, at least in my life. But I still make grocery lists. So, you still have to plan for the future. Just also plan for things to go sideways and upside down. That works. Yeah, that works. I like that. Oh, gracious. All right. So, yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful week. I look forward to next week. No, I have no idea what we're talking about next week. I'm going to sit down today and try and catch at least for a few more months. I like the way this month's discussion is going because the idea that most people are fearful for their future because they have no idea what's going on is a big one to think on. Because if you're afraid for your future, then you need to plan for your future. You need to act towards your future. You need to do something active to prepare for your future. It'll make you feel a lot better. You won't be scared anymore. It's awesome. Yay! Yeah, okay. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.